everyone. Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to your beautiful new home. I love it. I love it. You can't see that. I have a purple bag. I'm going to go home and decorate in purple. And who helped paint this? Who's that? Was there anyone in this room who helped? Was it some volunteers?
No.
Because it's beautiful. Please, just what wonderful decoration. How warm and welcoming it feels to be here. So thank you very much to everybody for making it so welcoming today. I feel slightly bad because you were having a real party out there, and now I'm going to try not to speak at you and kind of send you all to afternoon sleep. So we'll try and kind of keep the energy up. But as Betty says, my name's Anud. I'm the chief executive of an organisation which is called Community Southwark. And our job is to support charities and community groups. So we do that through advice and training. We do that through bringing groups together because we're stronger together. And we do it for kind of standing up for charities and community groups because actually they are at the heart of all our communities. And we couldn't be showing that better by being here at LOVO today. And I just want to say kind of a few words because I think it is so exciting to have somewhere that we can say this is LOVO's home and this is its space. But actually the beauty of I think what LOVO does is that this is a space for everybody. This doesn't just belong to one organisation. This belongs to all of us. And I walk in and I feel that, and I know all of you feel that. So I just wanted to say a few words about that. And a couple of people have used the word journey. And actually all organisations are on a journey, and your journey for LOVO has brought us all here today. But all of you as individuals are on your own journeys, and some of those journeys stretch across the world, and many of you here have lived in other countries. My father was Iraqi, we lived in Kuwait until the first Gulf War. We came to the UK very suddenly. Other people have kind of been here all their lives. And I just think there is something quite interesting about the fact that everybody's on these different journeys in life, and what kind of brings us together. People who are religious kind of think, it's God's will. Other people think it's fate. Other people just think that's how it's ended up. But there is something really magical, I think, about the way we've all ended up in this very special place today. I think many journeys require a leader, and I mean, you've just heard some words about Ola and her leadership, and I think, Ola, I am constantly in awe of you. I think you're absolutely amazing. And your leadership really is inspiring. But obviously, there is no leadership without a team, and the volunteers here, I thank you so much. But essentially, what makes this space a home for the community is the people in it. And so huge thanks to all of you for being here and for making this space the incredibly special space it is. When I talk about organisations going on journeys, sometimes there are challenges. In life, we've all had some challenges on our journeys, and certainly, LOVO, you had some challenges getting here. And so just a huge well done for persisting, for believing, for having the vision in this place that comes together so beautifully today. The only other word I wanted to think about was, I suppose, love, because actually, LOVO definitely, the word love is there, and I just think something that we as women particularly bring to organisations, to our journeys, is that kind of love and care. And that's what I always feel when I walk in here as well. So it's lovely to be here. I love being with you. And just thank you so much for the love and care you've put into this space, which I think we all feel. So congratulations on this. You want me to do the certificate now? So, before I do that. Okay. Camilla. And also, there's often somebody who's really in charge and doing all the work. So, Camilla.
We can put them together.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's easier.
I've been very well organised. So
There we go.
Right.
So now it's time. Can you hear me well? Yeah. Okay. To thank our little angels of LOVO. Yeah. So the volunteers. Who make my life and my job easier. Honestly, every day when you come here, you bring a smile to my face and make everything beautiful here at LOVO. So we want to appreciate you and give you a little certificate of appreciation. So.
We do a lot in my organisation and community, so that we do a lot of kind of helping people find volunteering roles. We do a lot of support for organisations. Volunteering, if you look in this borough, if you added up all the hours that all the volunteers in this borough spend contributing to their community, and you put a monetary value, a money value around that, it would be £65 million a year. Wow. Just in Suffolk. Yeah? That is the value of what volunteers bring. But actually, we all know that it's not about money. It's not about the money value. It is about the love, the care, the time, the support, and the fact that actually volunteers get a lot out of volunteering as well. They get a lot of joy out of doing it. So it's absolutely such a pleasure to present these certificates. And I must read to you what it says, because the wording here is really special. So these certificates say, for your outstanding dedication, compassion and unwavering support, for your generosity of time, presence and care. This all makes a meaningful difference in the lives of the women served here. You embody the spirit of community, kindness and empowerment. Thank you to the volunteers for being an inspiration and a valued part of LOVO's journey. So congratulations to all the women. I'm going to ask you to come up to get their certificates. And the first one, and I'm sure this is in no order of kind of, but tell me if I'm wrong. The first one is for Rosa. Rosa Reyes. Is she here? Congratulations. I hope you heard all those words. That's a certificate for all that stuff I just read out. For the volunteering. Well done. Congratulations, Rosa. And next, we need to do a special cheers for Suzy Lopes. There you go, Suzy. Congratulations, and you're even volunteering as we speak.
Yes, thank you.
Camera to a big smile. There you go. Congratulations, Suzy. Okay. Oh, now Sherelle. Is Sherelle here?
Yes.
Sherelle! Well done, Sherelle. Congratulations, Sherelle. Well done. Smile for the camera. There you go. Congratulations, Sherelle.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Oh, you really do. Well done. Okay. Now, one of the things that volunteers do so well is they make people feel welcome, and I was so warmly welcomed by Aurora when I came in. So, well done. Thank you. No, well done you. Okay, and next we've got Claire Yick. Claire? She's doing all the hard work. Somebody go get her and I'll read her name out again in a minute. Next we've got Charlene Asma. Charlene. Well done, Charlene. Smile for the camera. Congratulations. Oh, you have so many volunteers. We've got Nazanin next. Nazanin. Congratulations.
Nazanin does all the cooking.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh. The person to stay friendly with. I will remember that. Okay, and then we've got Esther. Doing a really good job. Is Esther about?
Yes, sir.
I just saw it very
She was here a minute ago.
She took the cups to the kitchen.
This is the problem with volunteers. They're always volunteering.
Oh, Claire is here.
Okay, I'm going to try. These volunteers are so busy, but I'm going to try again for Claire. Claire, And I'm going to try once more Well, for the most important job in the house is the tea. Is Esther making tea? Esther. You were too busy being working. Well done. Stay back in.
Wow,
Well done, everyone.
A round of applause for Anu. I call Anu my boss. She's our boss in Suffolk, but a fantastic woman.
Yes.
She has really pushed the voice of community Suffolk and also the voluntary organizations in Suffolk. So we're really very grateful for the hard work that you're doing, for your leadership. I'm so proud to be in the sector at this time, this season, for you leading us. The thing is that we have a lot of people that talk, but they don't walk the talk. And I've always said this about, sorry, I can't speak louder than this, except we use this mic. Yes, we have to be sharing. Anyway, COVID has ended, so we don't need to. Can you, is that working?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, so like I said, there's so many people that just talk and don't walk the talk. But Anu is not just only a talker, you can see that she's very eloquent when she speaks. Natural public speaker, she's a politician as well.
Yeah. I'm retired.
You are still retired. Okay, so we're digging into you today. But yeah, we're really very grateful. She's going to be leaving around 1 o'clock, and then we're going to have about 2 o'clock. I'm going to have our other guests. But we want to get to know you. You just talked about coming from Iraq, and then, I want to just know that journey and how you settled in, and obviously we want you to be comfortable with my response. I told her. All right, so we get started, and I have my partner, my co-host,
Suzy.
Suzy, so we're going to be
together.
doing this together. We're going to just flow, and also we would give the audience to contribute or to ask questions as well. So it's a teamwork here. We're all going to learn. But really, I want to say that Gratitude Panel came up as a result of the passion that I have. And then when I was talking with my team, actually Camilla came up with the name. So let's have it as Gratitude Panel. I just feel personally that one of the things that is broken down in our society today is because people are not grateful enough. And all the things that we're seeing, for instance in London, the gun crime and the hate, I feel that it's because we don't really appreciate ourselves. And there is power and beauty in difference. And I believe that when we begin to practice more of gratitude, we begin to see the beauty in our difference. And so that's the reason why we took up this challenge in LOVO. If you go right into the reception, you see that one of our pillars here is gratitude. That as women come in here, even as children, as families come in here, we want to play our own little part, do our own part, by encouraging people to be a bit more grateful. So for instance, when people come in, we have a gratitude tree at the back there. People just write things down and just reflect, what am I grateful for today? Because we're so blessed, people, we're so blessed. And it's time to just sit down and pause and reflect and count our blessings. And when you begin to do that, I'm telling you, all this depression that we have in our society will be lessened. And so this is just a little part that we want to play in the society, and hopefully we'll get to the ends of the earth with this message. Just to be grateful. And I have the saying that when you are thankful, when you are thoughtful, you are thankful. And when you are thankful, you are thankful. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Of blessings. That's so true. So, I know, thank you one more time for coming. So I'm going to just start with the theme of today is actually against all odds. And I just want you to share a bit of your story, your own story of against all odds.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ola. I mean, as I was saying, I think it's really interesting that everybody has a story, don't they? And I always feel a little bit uncomfortable about sharing mine without hearing all of yours. And I mean, I've been chatting to a couple of people here, but you know, everyone's story is powerful and valid and important. So, I mean, I can talk about mine, but I think, it always feels a bit strange. But then maybe sometimes as women, we should feel confident to talk about our stories. Often, I mean, if you look at history, the voices of women have been very hidden in that. You know the famous men, you don't always know the famous women, and so on. So I think actually we should be proud of our stories and our journeys. But yeah, really keen maybe to hear some other stories today. But yes, as I said, my father was Iraqi. My name actually, Anud, is a word often used to describe a camel, a very sort of strong-willed and stubborn type of camel. So I think it was a compliment, but certainly that probably does. My character, I think, has always been, Ola knows because she sees me dealing with some of the battles we have to deal with. But so my father was Iraqi. He was in exile from Iraq. He lived in Kuwait, which was next door, because Iraq in those days had a dictator called Saddam Hussein. And he was very, you couldn't speak politically. There was a lot of repression, a lot of terrible things happened to people. So my father had escaped next door, and he ran his own business. Some days it made money, definitely other days it didn't, but there you go. So it was actually my mother who kind of kept things on the road. My mother's British. And we used to come over every summer to visit my mother's family. And one summer, 1990, there was Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and we were here on holiday, so we just never went back. So our life changed overnight, very suddenly. We had our summer holiday suitcase, that was it. I had to go to a school in London, in Camberwell, all very kind of big change in life. And I think that does impact children. I think, that kind of security you have as a child. I've done quite a lot of work over the years with child migrants, and I think certainly theirs is a story that is often not told. And I think it's really, we now know a lot more, I think, about trauma-affected young people and how that impacts, and often children can end up behaving badly, or I did, but actually it's because of things that have happened in their life. And then we also had trouble with my dad getting a visa, and so I kind of learned far more about the immigration system than, and I've ended up working in charities that particularly work around asylum, immigration, migration, and also around education, because actually the thing that I'm very grateful for, the thing that changed my life completely, was going to a very good school and that really invested and supported my education, and I was able to go to university, and my life would have been very different if that hadn't happened. So I think having a mother who was stable, who always never doubted the love she had, but she also had to pay the bills. She had to, it was not easy. She had to get a job overnight and so on. So I think the support of a mother and a grandmother, we lived with my grandmother, but having very strong women in my life was really important to me. I am very grateful for that. And also having that education and that stability. That's probably a bit about kind of how I ended up in Southwark in Camberwell, how I ended up working in the charity sector. As Ola says, I also got involved in local politics. I think, obviously my dad had some politics, and my grandmother was a communist, so she was very interested in politics. And I became a liberal Democrat, and that for me was very important, about allowing people, really celebrating diversity and difference, which is for me what's heart of that. And I got very involved in local politics. So, when we think about politics, we often think about what happens in Westminster. You see it on the TV, that you think this is not related to my life. I always really believed in community politics, in local politics, in engaging with people, and hopefully trying to improve their lives for the better, and that kind of motivated me as well. So there's my journey in a very snapshot. Of course.
So what would you say are the key lessons, life lessons, that our journey will bring over the years?
It's a very good question. I told you the questions were tough. So I think for me, the life lessons are around, I mean, a bit like you're saying, Ola, about gratitude. I kind of have always thought about positivity or optimism, seeing the best in people, trying to see the best in situations. I used to work for a local member of parliament doing his kind of casework, and people often, they come to the MP in very desperate situations, housing, immigration, finances. And I think the other life lesson I've had from some of that work is just how incredible people are, how people are able to come through challenges in life, particularly, as I say, women often. I think often women carry the burdens of the family, of the kind of managing what's going on. And I have just met so many amazing people in my life, and that lesson stays with me, the power of people. And then the power of often quite a small group of people, the way you and your volunteers have done, in changing other people's lives. So I think for me, something about the optimism and positivity in the power of people.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah, please do.
Can I choose any question?
Yes, anyone you want.
Okay, so my question to you is, how do you manage stress and maintain mental health throughout the years?
Really badly. I shout, I cry, I work too hard, I eat badly, I do all these terrible things because we're all human, aren't we? And actually, stress and mental health, I think, I'm very glad it's talked about more these days. But yeah, it's tough managing it. And I think it's tough. I have young children. I find, of all the jobs I've done, Ola knows because she's heard me complain about this. I'm not sure I'm very good at being grateful for them. Yeah, I find having a family really stressful. But I try, I'm very lucky. Again, the point about gratitude, I have good friends around me. I manage to meet amazing people. And yeah, I think trying to hold on to the positives. But it is not easy. And I think we live in a world where there's a lot of stresses come at us. You're always on duty a bit. So I'm really keen to hear about others. I saw you had a poster for yoga tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm always really keen to learn about how to do it better as well.
Yeah, I think just listening to you is all going back and centering around the power of people and the power of community. And that's one thing that I know that we are very, very blessed with in Southwark. So many lovely communities in Southwark. And we have no reason to be isolated in Southwark. LOVO is just one of the fantastic community groups. There's so many as well. So please find yourself a place where you feel safe. Don't feel isolated or alone. There's help out there. There are safe spaces out there. And if you want to belong in LOVO, you're welcome. All right. So the next question that I want to ask you is, what would you say is a key moment in your life that has significantly changed you?
So often I ask people this question, and now I feel very bad for doing it. I kind of say to people, what's your what if moment? What, I don't believe there's a parallel universe out there, but you kind of think, what if this happened and I went down this other path? I suppose I've talked about my family moving very suddenly if that hadn't happened. But I don't know, to be honest, Ola. I think, I remember once hearing, I suppose maybe having children has been a very pivotal moment. That's certainly something that has changed me and who I am. How? It has just made me a different person. I think it's made me. You have to live much more in the moment. It's funny, we were talking about the bouncy castle out there. Just bouncing, just kind of living in that moment. So, yeah. But I'm really curious whether people. I'd love to open it out in terms of whether other people have that kind of the moment where, something happened in your life that really changed it. Sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a bad thing. But I'm very curious about that in people because I think.
Okay, she wants to open it up now.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to go for it?
Something in your life that's changed your life?
Yeah, that's just brought a kind of transformation she's talking about the fact that she's more mindful and aware of our present situation. So, anyone wants to share? Yes. Thank you.
I would like to say, and one thing I want to say is that since the COVID, it's made me to appreciate life more. Because not everybody that was in 2019 is here today. So we have to be grateful for every little thing. So I'm so happy and I thank God for that.
Thank you for sharing. Any other person wants to share?
Well, I had a similar.
Okay. I think
situation.
we can hear our voice.
Okay. I had a similar situation with COVID. I caught COVID near the end of 2021. After a week of isolating and collapsing and blacking out, I eventually called 911. They came and carted me off the hospital because my oxygen level was very low. I stayed in there for like 10 days or so, maybe about 2 weeks. But the thing was, because it was eating up the oxygen for me, so I lost my mobility. By the time I came home, I was with a frame, and I couldn't walk any distance or anything like that. So eventually, come 2022, I spent the whole of 2022 getting my strength back, and I also, when things opened up, I think I was called to do physio. So I did physio, came up with that. And what it did, although it was a bad thing to get COVID, it kind of woke me up because I was basically not doing anything, you know, and you lose your mobility, your legs and stuff like that. So it's kept me moving ever since, you know, ever since then. And I'm very grateful. I thank the Lord I came through it because there were some people in the COVID ward that were very, very bad. You know, scared me because I didn't need it in the war, but I ended up needing it. So yes, it's kind of like made me appreciate not to sit around too long, you know, get up, do things, go, you know, move around. Yeah.
I think when I came in this morning, I was talking to one of the team members. And she was just sharing her audio with me, and I just said, you know what, we really need to be grateful for health, for the breath that we have on the inside of us. We really need to be grateful. People that have died and gone, if they could pay £1 million to still be alive, they would pay it. You know, so never take life for granted. And one of the things that happens is that we really are more grateful. By being thoughtful, you are thoughtful, you're more grateful. There are certain things that will do more in our lives, which is one of the things you mentioned, going out more, rather than staying indoors, because there's a lot to do outside there, and just being mindful of your environment. You know, just walking down the park or the street, you see a little flower blossoming coming up, and just stand there and admire that, you know, breathing in air, just being grateful for that. It goes a long way to elongate our lives, honestly, and to just be more aware of the moment and be grateful. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, right. Anuj, you know, we just listening to you, there are lots of women that are actually are right now in the same shoes that you were many years ago, that had to migrate there, maybe due to the war in their countries or one thing or the other. And I guess there were hurdles that you had to jump through. Okay? I don't know if you mentioned that, but I feel like we should address that in relation to integration. Yeah?
Yeah, I think just on that previous question, if you don't mind, it's really interesting that COVID has had such a pivotal impact on people's lives, and I think on society as well. And I think actually we as a society, how that's kind of impacted us, it was very traumatic for communities to suddenly be told. I mean, my mum definitely still doesn't go out the way she did. Like, yeah, it really impacted community and relationships, I think, and children particularly. But no, so you were asking me about hurdles from kind of, coming to a new country. And I mean, in some ways I was lucky, very lucky, because my mum was British, so, and I spoke English. I think language is so tough. And just trying to like navigate the stuff that's almost not written down, the stuff that just people know because they've grown up here, that like, and I, I mean, obviously I was 10, so I kind of joined a school, and I just had no idea what children were talking about, and like popular culture and things like that. But I know, I mean, as I say, I've done a lot of work with different communities. I was talking just the other day to a lady from the Dominican Republic who was saying she'd come via Spain, so she'd lived in Spain for 10, 15 years. And when you go to the GP in Spain, they check everything every time. And so she didn't realise when she came to the UK, you get your 5-minute appointment and you can only ask about one thing. And so, she didn't know you had to separately go for cancer screening. And actually that's quite a big impact on people's health and inequalities if they're not knowing that they need to do those sorts of things. And I think a lot of the health inequalities we see in this country are because our services are not accessible for people, whether it's through language, whether it's just the not knowing. And obviously that becomes a matter of life or death, as you say. So I think there are some really big challenges, and I think we see it in the data, if you like, but actually we see it in people's experiences. And a lot of the work, so in fact, I'm very sorry I can't stay for longer today, but I'm going to a meeting which the NHS kind of have these regular meetings around how they spend their money, how they think about what's going on in communities. And I'm always saying to them, you need to get out. You need to be out there with communities. You can't wait for people to come to you because they don't know or they don't trust. Having done a lot of work with people worrying about their immigration status, like it's scary to go and talk to the council or the NHS when you're worried about what's going on. So I think really thinking carefully about what it's like for somebody when they've come to the UK, when they don't know the system, they don't trust the system. Often there are people there trying to manipulate the situation as well. So I think it's really difficult, and I think all we can try and do as a community is support one another, and that's why I think some of the work that you do here at LOVO about sharing that experience with people you trust, with people who kind of you think, okay, yeah, you get my life. And I think again, doing that as women is really important as well. So I feel very lucky in a way that I haven't had some of the challenges that many other people have had. But I do think we all have a duty to try and support each other with those challenges, because who knows, we're very lucky at this point in our life. You never know when you're going to need the help. So I think, just being really mindful of that as well.
Yeah. Let me just chip in this. Do you have rituals when you were growing up in your family that you practice and it has really kind of helped you into the adult who you want to be?
It's a good question. It's a good question. So I'm sure, like lots of people, food is really important for my family. I was joking this morning. So my dad had 7 sisters. So I have 7 aunts, all tough Iraqi women. You don't mess with them. And oh my God, they're feeders. So they feed you, and then they are very quick to tell you put on weight. So I think food is really important. I think it was very funny when my dad came to the UK. He bought gifts for all the neighbours, and bear in mind we're living in a block of flats in Camberwell, and all these neighbours are like, what is this strange person doing? Like, we've never met him before. Like, they all thought he was a bit strange. He used to invite the postman in for a cup of tea, and like all this stuff that felt really normal to him, and everyone's like, this is a bit weird. I think London is actually quite a tough place in some ways, because you don't talk to people on the bus and used to doing that. So I think, and the other thing my dad would always do is, because he was trying to navigate his way around London, and he knew the way home from Victoria Station. So everywhere he went in London, he'd always come back via Victoria. So that he knew the way home. So I think, we all have ways of coping. I think it's not difficult. But he also had a lot of anger, because actually he felt very angry with a society where his status had changed. He'd been used to running a business, he was now working as a security guard. I think he felt very resentful that he wasn't recognised. he had a very proud Iraqi nationalism, and suddenly that wasn't something to be proud of. So it's really complicated. He died about 10 years ago. They divorced in the end, my parents. But yeah, I think a lot of those challenges are very common. I think lots of people, it's not always easy. But like you say, there is also stuff to be positive about, be grateful for. He was in a lot better position than many people he knew as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any? All right. Okay, I'll open it up now to the floor. If you have any questions, just do by raising up your hand, and you can ask, and I'll bring the microphone to you. Yes, please. I think we can hear if you just.
Yeah. So you've got children. What is the one thing you teach your children from all your life experiences?
I mean, I just wish they'd brushed
Did you
their
get the question at the back? Okay, sorry, okay, let me just. It's not working. Okay,
Turn the volume up.
You have to put it in your mouth. Keep it new.
Oh, is it this one that is working?
No, it's the one that you just handed. Technical pitch. Yeah.
Maybe turn the volume up to something.
That's fine.
Can you hear?
Is that better? No.
Is it on?
It's on.
Renew the stress.
I can
Hello,
hear it.
hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So what advice would you give your children from all your experiences in life?
I was going to make a joke, so I just wish they'd brush their teeth. Go to bed, mainly, would be the advice I'd give them. Sleep. Why do children don't enjoy sleep? And then I'm like, now that's the thing I want most in the world is just sleep. But
They're teenagers.
then they sleep too much, do they? Well, don't tell me this. I'm like, mine is 7 and 3, so I have that teenage joy to come. I think it's really hard to advise young people, actually. I think sometimes they need to make their own mistakes, and I think the thing that's really surprised me about having children is how little control. Like, how they are their own people, and they have their own strengths, their own weaknesses, and they're on their own journeys, aren't they? So, I don't know. I suppose I just want them to know that they're loved, and hopefully that's enough, but I don't know, I wish they'd behave better. I'm really, because I know, Hyacinth, you're due to be a speaker, and I'm really interested to hear from Hyacinth a bit as well, so I don't know whether we can, I don't want to mess with your agenda.
Well, if you can wait.
What time is it?
It's 1:50 now.
Can we
Well, if there are no more questions, any other person has no question? I know Anud likes to just be the one at the back, powering all. She doesn't like being the center of attraction, but today you are. You are the center of focus today. Any other question? Yeah, I just want to ask this last question from you. How has your perspective about life? How has your perspective of life changed? Or has it changed? If it has, why? And how has it changed? Perspective of what? Life.
Perspective of life. So I think it's interesting. I think going back to the point about young people and advising young people, I think when you're young, you kind of think you've got all the answers, don't you? And then as you get older, you realise you know nothing. And so I think probably that, I think one of the reasons I was keen to hear from Hyacinth is because you've got a business partnership there. And I think something about the power of partnerships, probably. Something about that no one person can solve all the problems, whether that's your own life, and actually leaning on other people, friends, family for help, asking for help, not being too proud to ask for help, but also as communities, actually. I think, as I said, I was a local councillor, and I was in the opposition party at the council, so I was often, having a go at the council for doing things wrong, or kind of saying do it differently. And I think actually realising our political system is really messed up because it's not like that. Actually, we need to work together to solve problems. I think we have a lot of problems in this country. I think, if you look at schools, hospitals, whatever it is, and we're only going to find the answers to those, I believe, within communities, with the people who actually use those services, but also in working in partnership, whether that's with business, whether that's with the council, whether that's with charities and community groups. So I think for me, that's probably the thing, as I've got older, I've realised no one person or organisation can solve everything. And although that can feel a bit scary, I think that's actually really exciting because I see it in those relationships, in those connections. You know, I was watching it out there with the kids on the bouncy castle, or people. That's how we look after each other, and I think that power feels to me something that I learn more each day. I'm inspired by it. So yeah, so it's very good to keep learning.
Yeah. I just feel like we should just give it a shout for the power of sisterhood. Not one person has the answer. It's about the power of community, togetherness, sisterhood, family. So learn to share your problems and what you're going through. A problem heard is a problem shared. Problem shared is a problem solved. Let's give it up for
Something for you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Sticking together. No, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Well done.
And Suzy, yes. Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Hello, she has to leave now.
Can I sit for 5 minutes and just listen? It's really
Okay, all right.
and then I'll speak up. But thank you for coming.
Will you just see if Isabel's okay for me?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, easy one.
This microphone thing. Is it this one or this one?
It's this one that's here that's working. This one.
Thank you, excellent, Anut. Now, I would like to welcome Hyacinth to share a few words. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. It's such an honour and a pleasure to be here today. As soon as I walked into this new centre, my heart just felt so warm. So many nice family members, so many beautiful women. It just feels like a family, and I'm really honoured to be here. Representing Tilda and being invited by LOVO. It's, in case you don't know me, my name's Hyacinth. I work for a company called Tilda Rice. Some of you might have had some rice from us before. But you know, we're so honoured to be here and representing Tilda for LOVO, because when I first was looking for an organisation online, as soon as I even went on the website at LOVO with all the different beautiful pictures of the women and the colours and all the wonderful words that had been put on that website, I felt something. And I said to my manager, this is it. And I think I spoke to Ola that day, and then ever since we've had a fantastic partnership together, and I just hope it can grow. So honoured to be here today, and would love to hear your stories as well as we kind of progress in the afternoon.
Thank you. I just want to say a little bit about Hyacinth. Hyacinth is with expertise in ethnic communities and world foods. She leads culturally resonant campaigns at Tilda, from Diwali to Ramadan. She drives brand growth by aligning marketing, sales, and product through strategic planning, making Tilda a trusted name across diverse UK audiences. Isn't she beautiful?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, thank you for all the rights.
Yes!
And honestly, Hyacinth, beauty is not just on the outside, but inside in our heart, I can see you've been through. And we just so much appreciate your love and support for Tilda. Our partnership is meant to have ended December last year, and we're still going on.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have some packs of rice to go home with today, courtesy of Tilda. So thank you. Right, so we want to get to know you.
Okay.
Who is Hyacinth? So I would also ask you to share briefly your story.
Yeah. Right, so I think I'll start with my family background as well. So, as you can probably guess, I'm mixed race. My dad is a very chilled, lovely, relaxed Canadian. And then my mother is a very beautiful, lovely, strict African from Zimbabwe. And together they got married. A little bit about my name, because I think it's quite important for the story. My mum grew up incredibly poor in Zimbabwe. I think her mother, so my grandma, had 6 children by the time she was 18, not married. She had, unfortunately, two twins that passed away due to mumps. And it was a really tough time for the family. But my mum, at age 4, went to a convent boarding school in Zimbabwe, run by German nuns. And these women had come from Germany from about the age of 18, 20, and dedicated their entire lives to educating people in Zimbabwe through high-level maths, English, science, everything, almost like a British independent private school, but all free in Zimbabwe. So, it's incredible. There was one nun called Sister Hyacinth, that's me, and one nun called Sister Aurea, which is my sister. So my mum, she always goes back to, without those 2 women in her life, she wouldn't be as educated. She wouldn't have had the same self-confidence. She wouldn't have been able to get out of poverty. And especially during the time, I think, when Zimbabwe became an independent country, because it was called Rhodesia at the time, nuns pushed all the women from black backgrounds to say, this is your chance now to get good jobs. Now Zimbabwe is becoming independent. And they even went to interviews and said, hire this girl, she's good. So I think my mum had a real advantage from that. She worked then in the US Embassy in Zimbabwe. At a party, met my dad, who was a Canadian teacher. They got married within the year, and then they moved to UK and had my sister and I. So I think we come from a very kind of global family. And I always think about Sister Hyacinth. I did see her on her last kind of 80th birthday, and she's still, unfortunately she's passed away now, but right until her dying day she was always giving back to the community. So I'm honoured to be named after such an inspirational woman. I grew up in, I think Anu was also talking a little bit about her background. I've been very lucky. I've been brought up with 2 loving parents that really focused on education. We lived in a small village in Buckinghamshire where I was the only mixed race person, unlike in London where I think it's a lot more multicultural, but everyone was so kind, so friendly to us, and my parents worked really, really hard. I think we'll come on to some challenges that I've had in my life, but overall, I'm just so grateful to be here. I think my boss and I, we had an exercise to do. Out of all your career and your highlights, what is the most thing that you're proud of? And my boss has been working at Tilda for 10 years. The first thing he said, finding LOVO. So we're really grateful and we really want to continue the partnership.
I'm even speechless now. I think you should go next.
How do you now prioritize what's truly important in life after everything that obviously you've explained about your family, your mum's journey, your dad's journey?
Yeah, I think it's hard, isn't it? We've got such busy lives, and there's so many emails and messages and calls and bills. So I find it quite hard to prioritise the most important things. Now my dad's retired and my mum in Canada, sometimes my dad will just send me a message to say, this is a bird that I saw, isn't it beautiful? And I think I haven't even seen or looked at a pigeon for a month. I'm so busy. So sometimes when he sends me that, I think, okay, let me go for a 5-minute walk and prioritise just walking, seeing an animal, enjoying the sun, seeing children play. And I think that's actually what life's all about. So that's how I try to prioritise.
So they live in Canada then?
Yeah, they've retired back now, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to challenges. I don't know whether to touch that.
Yeah.
Because obviously being mixed race, at both your teenage formative years and also living in a village, were there any challenges around that? I don't know, I'm just asking. Or any other challenge that we have there. And if you want to share that with us, if you have overcome them, what was the journey?
Yeah, I think by the time I was a teenager, I learned a lot more about my ethnicity and my background. But I think when I was under 10 and the only person of colour in the school, you know, I was embarrassed that I had the frizzy hair and I didn't look like everyone. And I think everyone was very nice, but there was a natural curiosity about me. Now I don't, especially now in London and now I've grown up, I'm really proud of my heritage, and I feel it's something that's really unique about me, and it's something that we all share, different backgrounds, different food, different culture. So I would say now I really embrace it. I want to learn about other people's culture. That's why I got this job at Tilda. I want to know how to cook a good jollof for biryani. I want to know different religions, and I think that's so important. In terms of challenges, it's funny that everyone's talked about COVID. That was my big challenge. My mum and I, we had an education centre where we taught kids all week. It was a very successful business that we built up and then built up for 10, 15 years. One day COVID hits, everything closed. So all the hundreds of kids that we taught every week and the income we had gone overnight. And every day we were looking at the news, when are they going to open, when are they going to open? But we just got further and further into debt to the point where we had to close the business. And that was a really big decision, you know, to do. I'd quit a good kind of corporate job to set up and work with my mum on this business, and unfortunately it didn't work out. So I think I got really overwhelmed in thinking, why me? But actually, why not me? Everything always happens to people that, you know, are not deserving, you have bad luck. And I think working together and understanding that, you know, you can still find another path, I think was a big challenge for me. So I'd say, you know, at one point I had no money. My parents were still in Canada at the time. I was feeling very lonely. And I just had to pick myself up, and I had lots of lovely friends, other women to help and support me, and from there life really kind of picked up, and I managed to get another job eventually after a couple of years.
Yeah. I really like what you said about find another path, finding another path. There's so many options in life, isn't it? And sometimes we're so fixated on that one option and not wanting to change, and we get overwhelmed and frustrated about the fact that this one option that we're looking at is not working.
Yeah.
But from hearing from her, we can see that maybe, I would say God, some people might say universe or whatever, might be trying to tell you that there's another path.
Yeah.
And it's about you and I coming to that place where we accept the reality that this path is not working, this option is not working. Let me just search for another path. And it will be there waiting for you. It will be there waiting for you. And look at how destiny has brought her to Tilda today and how we've met. And also I could see that even the fact that you're of mixed heritage, that has actually linked up with what you're doing Tilda
Yeah.
at the moment. So you're meant to be here.
Yes.
You're meant to be working with Tilda, and sometimes when bad things happen, it's not the end of the world. It's just sorry?
Sometimes when bad thing happens, it brings out good thing out of
Brings
it.
out good thing out of it, and that is so true. So sometimes when bad things happen, it's not the end of the world. Maybe God is telling you, there's another path. And just need to turn once and you will find out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Any questions for yes, Hyacinth? I like that name so much. Although I struggle to pronounce it. It's such a powerful name. Does it have any meaning?
Hyacinth.
Oh yes, indeed.
Hyacinth.
Yes. Oh wow. Do you know what? I never mixed up with that. Oh my God. Wow. Any question, anyone? I can see some people smiling there. You want to ask a question?
What life advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah.
It's such a tough one, you know. I think Ola's touched on it as well, and so's Anud. I do now more believe in fate than I did 10 or 12 years ago when I was younger. I thought you have a lot more in your own control than you actually do. Now I think I've started to realise you can input and do whatever you can, and sometimes life still doesn't work out the way you want it to. And I think if I knew that, I would have I would have had a better mentality going through the harder times. So I would say that. I would also say time is a great healer. Whether you're not feeling well, you're sad, something's happened, I think it always does get better, and using and sharing with people. And I think if I knew all the good work that other organisations, charities and non-profits did, I would have joined or wanted to support a lot earlier as well. But yeah, I would say for me, not everything is in our control, and I think when we're young we think we can really manage and control our lives, but actually one thing can change the course, and just to go with the flow a bit more.
Very beautifully said. Okay, let's. What are the biggest mistakes that you've made in life, or the biggest risk you've taken in life, and what did you learn from it?
So when I lost my company with my mum, and she moved and retired back in Canada, I really didn't have any money, and I couldn't afford my bills on my apartment in where I was staying, my mortgage. So I didn't have anywhere to stay, and my friend said, stay with me for a few months until you get your life sorted. So I packed all my stuff in one car, and I moved out of my place. And I was thinking, really, what's going to happen? You know, what is that a big mistake that I've made? You know, should I have stayed there? Should I have struggled? But actually, it was the best decision I ever made. I think a week later, I was on the Northern Line, and across me was my future husband. Oh, yeah. And we're getting married next month. Really going down, and I was all lost. But I thought, okay, maybe I'm making a big mistake, and I feel much better. I did make that jump when I didn't know what was coming ahead. Yeah.
You said across from you was your future husband, so how did you get together with him?
So he kept staring at me on the tube, and then asked me for a coffee, and then that was it.
You saw me staring at
I
you.
wanted to look too.
Wow!
So yeah, I think there's always good out there, and I would say, you know, lots of times the kindness of strangers or the openness of strangers has always taken my breath away. Even in London, where we think everyone's disconnected, there's always someone that will help, someone that will check if you're okay. And I hope to be more, I think what LOVO has taught me is to be a lot more humble, a lot more grateful. And if I ever see someone in a situation of that, to act and not just to walk past, I would say.
Wow. Destiny made you find one important man. Oh wow. Really, really lovely and interesting. Okay, anyone has any question or contribution? Oh, you're like the best audience ever. You don't have any other thing to say. Okay, let me ask this last question, which I asked Anud. How has your perspective on life changed over the years, if it has?
Yeah, I think more of a focus on the good small things in life, not the money, not the constant ladder of trying to constantly get more, do more, be more, but actually a cup of tea with someone you love, or a phone call to your parents, or spending time like this is so special to me. So I think I value that a lot more than I would have 10 years ago, and just the idea of being without your phone, without your laptop, connecting with people is definitely what I value more in the future. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Is there anything that has changed with you in terms of what do you value more, in terms of your family? Is it rest time? Is it me time?
Yeah,
I value my health more.
And also, let me just add that, thank you. And also, let me just add this. How has your own perspective on life changed over the years? If it has, who wants to share with us? Mama Bethel, I must hear from you. You got a lot to say, I know. Please come over, let's give a round of applause.
Oh, right. Yes, you can.
She's one of our regular senior citizens.
You took me on the way.
Yeah, because I saw you.
I wasn't.
You want to come and sit here?
No, it's okay. I think standing is better for me. So, as you can see, like Ola introduced me, I'm a senior citizen. I've been here for a very long time, and all my children are here, and grandchildren are here, and it's been a challenge for me because I lost my husband almost going 40 years now, and looking after your children, looking after yourself when you're still young to be looked after, and then you end up looking after yourself. It's a very challenging situation. But thank God for this country, made it easier, because I thought if I was back home in my country, I wouldn't have been able to succeed in bringing up the children up by myself, not to talk of the education we've had so far. So, for me, as old as I am, I encourage every young person, whatever you are doing, be focused on it. I was focused on my family, I was focused on myself, and I'm a believer. And with that, I feel like, there's someone watching over me. And if I try to move one step,